See, we're excited to have our Ag Issues team today. You know, one of our stronger programs that programs that we have at the high school has always been our Ag department. Our Ag department, whenever I got here in 1998, our Ag department was already recognized throughout the state, and so it continues to be a strong component of our students. We've had several students, Melanie being one of them, went to nationals last week. So Gilmer High School had several students that went to the national convention last week in Indianapolis, Indiana, and some of them won awards, and so even on a national level, our school is being represented. So I've asked Mike and Davis, and they're going to area contest tomorrow, and so this is just kind of an opportunity for them to be able to practice for their contest for tomorrow and to hone their skills. But anyway, Mike, I'll get you to come up and introduce your team. All
right. Hello, everybody. My name is Micah Davidson. This is my third year teaching at Gilmer High School as an ag teacher. It's been a really great 3 years coming to the community of Gilmer. I've really enjoyed living here. Thank you all for having us in today. The agricultural issues team is a unique team in that, one, we're required to do public forums with our presentation. So we go to community members and share on the agricultural issue that we've selected to present upon. The topic, they pick an ag issue, then they state the pros and the cons of that issue and let the audience kind of form their opinion on that topic. This year is a little more technical than the one we've done previously. Last year we did the Marvin Nichols Reservoir. This year it's artificial intelligence in agriculture. It's been really fun to learn about. They've done a great job putting together the presentation and presenting. This is their 13th forum, so they've got to do a few. So tomorrow's area contest, they're ready to be done with forums. But they'll be glad to take questions at the end of the forum. The presentation's about 10 minutes, and then we'll open it up so y'all can ask some questions about it. So thank y'all very much for having us in today.
Levi's alarm went off at 4 a.m., flashing red across his bedroom. He rolled over quickly and began pulling his boots on.
A few hours later, Brooklyn started her day like she does every day on the farm. She got up around 9 o'clock and went to the kitchen to make a pot of coffee.
Levi filled a thermos with black coffee and was out the door by 4:05 to begin his day.
Brooklyn took an hour or so to catch up on the daily news on her phone before she finally strolled into the office.
Levi made it to his combine, where he checked it over carefully before heading out to the field for the day.
She sat down at her computer and pulled out GPS trackers of equipment that was currently at work on the farm. The combine had run since 4 o'clock that morning when it was automated to begin.
He made it out to the field where he began to collect his crop. It had been a hard year of drought, and the crop hadn't quite made the way he wanted. But nonetheless, he had to get the job done. He worked until 10 p.m. with various stops throughout the day to fix things on his combine that just didn't want to work right.
After making sure everything was working right, she called the nearest grain elevator to check to see if the crop fed that morning had been dropped off. Then she went into the living room and enjoyed morning television until it was time to make lunch.
Levi and Brooklyn had the same acreage and the same crop, but spent a significantly different amount of time managing their farm. Levi, who worked long, hard hours harvesting his crop that didn't turn out quite like he expected, Brooklyn, in the same town, came in thriving and overperforming.
This is the reality of modern agriculturalists. With the development of artificial intelligence, it will no doubt change the way we do things now, even as farmers.
In fact, it began changing things many years ago and will continue into the future. Artificial intelligence is the ability of a computer or machine to take on a role that would otherwise be completed by a human.
We know quickly that nationally and globally in large-scale agriculture, artificial intelligence will play a major role in the future. With Texas being one of the largest agricultural producers in the nation, it has to ensure that it stays at the forefront of this technology. Being from a rural town with just a few thousand people, we can't help but wonder how this will affect our local farmers and ranchers. That is what brings us to you today. We are the Agricultural Issues team from Gilmer FFA. Thank you for joining us to hear our forum. Artificial Intelligence in Agriculture, a Joy or Discover. We will be focusing on the pros and cons of artificial intelligence in agriculture. Hi, my name is Melanie Aguilar, serving as the moderator of these conversations. With me, I have Brooklyn Fothery and Carter Garman in support of artificial intelligence in agriculture. In negation, I have Kayla McCarter and Levi Walton, who are opposed to the use of AI in agriculture. We have seen artificial intelligence heavily adopted within the use of autonomous equipment and drones. Let's hear from the pro side first on how artificial intelligence can be supported in our community and in agriculture.
The first and most obvious reason for supporting artificial intelligence in agriculture is to compile yields with an incredible amount of data. We know now that by 2050, we will need to be able to produce 60% more food than we are currently to feed the world's growing population. The more data that can be collected on daily growth, water usage, soil health, and to predict weather trends, the more we can expect to receive out of our crop. This goes for animal agriculture as well. The more data that we can receive, the more we can expect to be produced in every facet of the agricultural industry.
AI can be set to be so specific that it can analyze minute portions of a crop that may need to receive a bit more than others. Farmers don't have to tell their sprayers to spray more in a given area. The analysis is automatically calibrated into sprayers where it will treat the area in need of special attention.
Plant and animal agriculture has only begun scratching the surface in terms of yields possible with the data that is being collected. 24-hour care of livestock and crops could prove to meet needs at every moment to ensure a perfect environment for each entity without a person ever having to make a decision.
The second reason for use of AI in agriculture is the profit that can be obtained. Before these developments, if a portion of crop needed a bit more fertilizer, a farmer would have likely sprayed their entire operation. With AI, a farmer can go from spraying 100,000 acres to 5,000 acres that actually need it. That's a 95% savings in what a farmer would have spent on promoting their crop.
Profits will increase with reduced pesticide use, reduced water usage, and improved soil health. AI can use weather trends to see if a crop needs less water on a given day because rainfall is approaching. All of agriculture is dependent on water, and it quickly becomes a costly factor.
And of course, profits will go up because labor costs will come down. It takes less people to be involved in agriculture with the use of AI technology. Good business people are always looking for ways to save money in unnecessary areas. And before anybody gets worked up in the defense of agriculture workers, we want to bring you to our third point.
The average age of a farmer in the United States is nearly 60 years old, according to CropTracker.com. Only 9% of food producers are under the age of 35. For years, we have been incredibly concerned with recruiting more and more people to work within agriculture. While we will always need and desire more agriculturalists, perhaps AI can help eliminate the holes we've been trying so hard to fill. Artificial intelligence in agriculture will help lessen the number of jobs it takes to make food production possible.
Perhaps the answer to feeding 9 billion people isn't recruiting more agriculturalists, but in all actuality is embracing technology that will continue to make us more productive and efficient. Artificial intelligence in agriculture helps increase yields and data collection, expands profits, and helps to tackle the labor deficit.
While technology is exciting, there are many concerns associated with the use of artificial intelligence in agriculture. Let's hear from the opposing side for reasons not to support AI in agriculture.
The first reason for opposing artificial intelligence in agriculture is the unreliability of online programs and entities. While the internet often serves as a valuable tool, there are some things that are not safe to be put into the cloud. When we begin uploading trillions of bits of data into an online platform, we live our livelihoods open to attacks in a variety of ways.
Earlier this year, Farmers Forum reported that a hog farm in Ontario was a victim of a cyber attack. The farmer's surveillance footage was overtaken by an animal rights activist and held for ransom. Surveillance is only a small use of technology, and farms have already been in difficult circumstances. If we implement more technology, this will only open up the door to more compromising situations.
The large crop-producing companies that began using AI a few years ago created their own platforms of artificial intelligence. Caleb Dochertz, a former seed salesman at Bayer Crop Science, described the use of AI as a race to see which company could get the furthest, fastest. In his work, he's seen the struggle for compatibility between these large platforms. In reality, the use of AI is largely similar to Apple versus Android.
The second reason against AI in agriculture is the gap in cost for small-scale and large-scale producers. With the advantages that could come with this technology, we could very quickly price small-scale production out of the industry. While large-scale producers have the ability to integrate and afford new technology, small-scale producers may not even venture to try.
As we have seen with the right to repair law, most modern equipment has some form of requirement that makes fixing equipment more costly or time-consuming. The large companies controlling AI will likely do the exact same thing our equipment companies have done with fixing farm equipment. They will make it difficult for a farmer or rancher to run a program on their own.
This is especially concerning with such an automated industry. Who is to say these companies can take over the control and production of your harvest for the year with their right to own AI technology? With everything online, this technology can be controlled from any part of the world.
Lastly, and most dearly, the use of AI leads to the exploitation of agricultural workers. The use of AI forgets the parts of the world that are incapable of reaping the benefits of this technology. In every part of the world, there is someone who won't have a job or the ability to learn to use AI.
As companies begin to require use of AI technology to be permitted to grow their crop or use their equipment, there will be places that will no longer be able to produce anything at all due to these restrictions. We run a risk of eliminating jobs and opportunities for every small-scale producer. Artificial intelligence has a negative impact on agriculture by permitting unreliable internet sources to be used, increasing costs for small-scale producers, and exploiting our labor forces.
Now that we have heard from both sides of the issue, let's return to the supporting side for closing statements.
It is time that we stop discussing how we will feed the nine and realize that the means to that end is before us. We must embrace artificial intelligence now and in the coming years to ensure we can produce as much as possible, as efficiently as possible.
On top of that, we care about our farmers who deal with an immense amount of stress. In recent years, the occupation of farming has seen one of the highest rates in suicide. Utilizing artificial intelligence in agriculture can help relieve some of the stress that is upon the farmers we care so much about.
We will now hear closing statements from the opposing side.
We must protect agriculture from the intrusion of large corporations and wealthy millionaires that want to eliminate small-scale production. America was founded on the opportunity for people to be successful on every level.
If there's one thing we know about farmers, is that they have an uncanny way of making the right decisions for their crops at the right time. AI cannot be relied upon to make decisions for farmers that have years of experience. Let farmers continue to innovate in the ways necessary to produce more and more.
The conversations of artificial intelligence in agriculture are only beginning. Both sides of the issue will continue to be seen and heard as the world around us changes. Inevitably, change will happen, but we must always consider the ramification of our actions. Thank you for joining us to hear our forum, Artificial Intelligence in Agriculture, a Joy or a Discomfort. We are now ready for questions. Thank you.
Getting to the unreliable internet, I mean, how do you address those situations where in most of these places, we're talking about rural areas that don't have internet at all, they're lucky to have it at home. How does AI play into that?
So that's why on the con side, we mentioned that point because that has to go into consideration. While the actual software of the artificial intelligence isn't the only thing you're purchasing. Like you said, most homes in the rural areas don't even have internet at their home, much less out in the fields where they have hundreds of thousands of acres. So we think that that would be one of the biggest cons for artificial intelligence because that's yet another cost that you would have to purchase artificial intelligence.
But internet access is coming slowly but surely. The U.S. government has put down around $50 billion towards internet in rural access areas. And Texas is getting 3.8 billion of that. And that's going to help bring internet to smaller cities.
Do the machines operate by themselves? Is that what happens, or is it just we program what to do? Is there still somebody behind these machines?
There would be somebody still having to program and like put the program into the machine that's going to be moving.
Well, there won't be someone in the fields behind the tractor operating it. There will still be someone maybe at their house in a room controlling these tractors behind a computer screen that's being programmed to that combine that's in the field.
Thank you all so much. Sure appreciate it.
Well, thank y'all.
Thank you all for having us in and for allowing us to come speak to you all today. We sure appreciate it. It helps them prepare for contests, and it's also just great to get to connect with community members. We really appreciate it. Thank you all.
Thank you.